welcome back to Nails by Mish, where in this video I'm doing another set. Well, I'm just practicing pretty much doing full cover nail tips. These are the Gelish brand that I'm going to be using today, but we're going to look at my 4-week-old nails. This is just a gel overlay with reflective gel on it, and yeah, let's get to removing this old product. It's time to go. It's a little too long grown out. I don't like to go past this length on my nails in terms of growth. So this is my Melody Susie 5-way bit, and just going in and removing as much product as possible. I am using my non-dominant hand with the e-file, so I'm trying to be like very careful. I'm like resting my hands on my my like little like dust collector, and using that as like a, I don't know, like prop my hands against to like get more stability essentially. So I'm gonna take down the length and then remove all of the product off of them, or as much as I possibly can. Decided to speed this up just to show you the whole removal process. But you can see doing your own nails is like quite tricky sometimes. You've got to like flip your hand around like a million different directions just to be able to get all the angles and fit the bit right. When you're doing someone else's hands, it's a little easier because you can like hold the finger and like kind of rotate it from side to side. But your own hands, it's a little more difficult, and pulling back the skin on the sides is also a little trickier to do, just to get in those side walls as clean as possible without overfiling. But definitely learning to be careful when using an e-file. That's why it's always best to practice on yourself. If you are a newbie and you have one of these, like mine is a McCart e-file. I bought it off of Amazon 2 years ago, so I've been like practicing, how to use it on myself, trying not to, let it get too hot on other people. It's really like a practice. So here's what my nails look like after all the products removed, or as much as I could, because I definitely went back and removed more. But here are the full cover nail tips from Gelish. So I'm just sizing them on my fingernails as best I can, because I want them to fit as best they can from side to side. On some of them, I definitely did not get that full coverage. But I'm a little more careful with my clients. It's just hard to see both sides when you're doing it on yourself. So just be mindful of that when you're doing your own nails. So one thing I noticed with these full cover nail tips is that the stamp on the inside is just like the Outtro stamp, so the Gel X stamp. But when I was, looking at the price of these tips versus the price of Gel X tips, these are actually more expensive. They look identical. If you compare the photos online to what I have here, they are identical. And I've showed a picture in my last video. I can put another one up here somewhere, or I'll show it again. Who knows? But you can also go look at my last video about these, and maybe I'll link it down below as well. But the inside looks identical. So if you did compare the pricing, though, these are about $13 Canadian for a box of 110. Online for Gel X, it's a box of 500 for 35-ish, give or take, dollars Canadian. Like, tell me how that's, like, it's cheaper to buy the Gel X, okay? My bad here, guys. I was just showing how much product I still had on my nails. Like, you can see a little, like, thickness there. And I did go in and file them, so just a little short clip. But now you can see I went and filed all of them, and like way thinner. Like, so much more product was removed. Yeah, because having less product on the nail, it's going to fit better. Ideally, I should have soaked off all of this product off of my nails, but I didn't have good acetone, so I didn't. So I just filed it off. But you can see it fits much better. And here's my setup. I have yoga blocks and my lamp, and this is how I use it. I just kind of like shove my hand underneath. That's how it goes. So I've got my primer here. This is the primer I got when I first started doing nails from my Nail Queen kit when I did my training with her. And I'm just going through, putting the primer on all of the nails. So in their like description, they say you don't have to etch the inside. So I am prepping these nails exactly how they tell me to, essentially. So, and I'm going to primer my own nails just for good measure. I did cut myself in prep there. I prep my nails behind the scenes. It's too much to edit. I don't like it. So if you want to know about prep, I can do a whole video on that separately. And I'm using the Gel Bottles 2-in-1 base coat. This base coat already has primer. It worked into the formula. So technically I don't need primer on my nails. However, I'm just doing it for good measure. And I'm gonna apply a little bit into the inside of the nail. Just kind of like a dollop-ish. I definitely used a little too much on this nail. But when it's when you're using your non-dominant hand, like you kind of just want to get shit done. So I just kind of like shoved it on. I was like flooding the cuticle, and I was like, okay, just do it. You'll file it off later. So what I like to do is apply more gel underneath the nail. I just feel like it just completes the extension because it adds more strength, more structure to that nail. I don't think it could hurt, really. Now this one, you see I like lift it off a bit. Oof. Right in there in that little corner, I got some gel in the corner, and then also I didn't quite fit these two nails perfectly, so you see side to side, like look, you can see my nail a bit. You really want to avoid that. So that is a mistake that I've made. So please be really careful when you're sizing your nails. Maybe if you get a little bigger of a nail, you can file down the sides. It is quite tricky though. I have very curved nail beds, so it's a little harder to fit. Also, it could have been because I had too much gel still on my nails. So there's two things that could have happened there. So if I had maybe soaked off the nail and it was all the way down to my natural nails, they may have fit differently. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're doing someone else's nails or your own. So again, I'm going to just fill in the underside of the nail. It just makes me feel better. To be honest, I don't think it's really a requirement, but I just think like if it were me and I got these done at a salon and they didn't put gel in the underside of the nail, and then there's like this little lip of gel that like I could pick at, oh, I would pick these things right off. I'd pick them off. So that's just my 2 cents on why I do that. This one's kind of satisfying. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. So when I cured them for about a minute, maybe like 20 or 30 seconds initially. Apply gel on the underside. Just want to make sure it's like stuck down there at least. And then cured again for a full minute for both the underside and the top side. When I've done this on my one client who I've been practicing this on, now I've done it twice. Honestly, the removal process I found to be a little difficult. I didn't have good acetone though, so get yourself like 100% acetone when you want to remove these, and I'm going to show you a video next week on how to remove them. So right now we're going to go in and just prep these for gel polish. You do want to just like kind of buff the outside. I'm just shaping these down to an almond shape, just rounding off the tips because I don't really want them to be stiletto. I'm going in on the corners here to try and get some of that gel off, but I really have to use an e-file for it. So I kind of give up after a while. I was trying to like blend, you know how there was like that gap where the nail met my natural nail and you could see it. I was trying to like blend it together with the nail, but then I just gave up. So I had a lot of flooding in this finger in particular, in the middle finger, so I was really trying, but yeah, I should have just given up. But overall, you want to just like file the sides, make sure they blend nicely with the natural nail, and that you have no natural nail hanging down lower than the extension. So you can kind of like blend those together, and you know, if you want to round the tips, go ahead. I do not recommend shortening them though. If you want to shorten them like significantly, honestly, you might be better off to just buy the shorter nails. It depends on how short you go. So, if you're cutting off like, I don't know, like a couple centimeters, fine. But these nails are made to be that length. The structure is built into them for that length. So you should probably just leave them that way, or they might look odd, or like, I don't know how to explain it properly, but I'll have to show you one day. I'll just cut them off and you'll see the difference. So now I'm going to come in and just like prep the surface. So gently go around that cuticle area. Like I'm going kind of slowly, and this isn't spinning very fast. I mean, actually, I think I turned it up pretty high, actually. But gently, and then go as, you know, as close as you can to that corner, like to get that flooding part away, but you don't want to take too many strokes over it because it may get really hot. Like arbor bands get so fucking hot, okay? So sorry YouTube for swearing, but like they get real hot. So be careful. This is why you practice on yourself, so that you can not hurt your client. You know, like I totally have though. Like, let's be real. If you're a nail tech and you are doing other people's nails, there are going to be times where you do accidentally hurt your client. It's not intentional, but it does happen. So practice on yourself so that you know how many passes it takes for it to feel hot. You know, did you already remove all the product? Now you're touching the skin. Like, are you hitting the skin accidentally? Like, be so careful and practice on yourself so that, you know, you can get really good at it. Like maybe, like me, I don't have super sensitive skin around the cuticles, but maybe your clients do. You don't want to, even like sometimes the most subtle nick on that cuticle and they're gushing blood. So just be careful. Like me, when I cut my finger here, like my pointer finger, I just totally like nipped it like accidentally. So don't be like me, but practice on yourself, because then if you cut yourself, I mean, you did it to yourself, right? No one to blame but you. But if you cut your client, oof, you're going to feel so bad. So be careful. It's okay. You're going to be slow in the beginning like me. My full sets, even with these, went the removal process plus applying them, it was still like over 2 hours. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to like look into this and see if I can figure it out. But I'm just applying one color. This is my non-dominant hand that I'm using to paint. So I'm just trying to make this as easy as possible. Okay? That color is Water Lily from the gel bottle. It's the same color I used on my other nails when I made those grid lines. I just kind of wanted to like sort of match. So just applying this color like as evenly as possible. It's kind of like a translucent-ish, like a little bit, just a little translucent, but it applies pretty nicely. Like I really do like these colors from gel bottle. Like some of them are like not super like creamy, where, you know, when a color is so creamy it gets lumpy. These don't really do that. They're kind of like more transparent. But when you do multiple coats, like you get full coverage. Like this is only 2 coats. I only end up doing 2 coats and that's it. And they look like perfect. So, you know, just because something is like super pigmented, like doesn't always mean like it's going to apply really smooth and thin. Like you always have to apply gel in very thin coats, so that you don't get it lumpy. So just stuff to keep in mind when you're applying just even like a basic color. But I just like love the way these turned out, and like I got so many compliments. I even got a new client from having these nails on because she thought they looked absolutely perfect. So I bought some coffin-shaped ones and some short ones just to test it out. So we're gonna see how this goes. Just applying top coat very quickly, and here's the finished result. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I love you. You're the best. Have a good one. Bye.